Hi, and welcome back to Music and Theatre Education. Now on this channel we've had a lot of music and education, but not a lot of theatre. Actually, I haven't made a single theatre video, but today that all changes. Now I get emailed or messaged every so often from people asking me, how do you get into community theatre? It looks like an amazing experience, so how do I get a part of that too? Well, today I'm going to share what I think is the best way to get into community theatre. Now this is based purely on my experience. It may be different for you, but here's some tips to get involved. My first advice to someone who's wanting to get into theatre is always go and see community theatre shows. Work out which theatres you're interested in joining. Do some have a better atmosphere that you like? Do some do particular shows that you're interested in? Maybe one theatre has a focus on feminist theatre and that's really your thing. Or maybe one theatre exclusively does musicals and that's your jam. Now you're likely to go to a lot of different auditions to start off with. Actually, you just continue to go to a lot of auditions. So knowing the venue is actually, I find, really comforting. So for example, you know how to get there. You've been there before. You know if there's parking or whether it's difficult to park. There is nothing worse than not being able to find a car spot in your audition as in 5 minutes. You know where the toilet is for that nervous wee before your audition. I would say that's a fairly important one for me. Always have to do a nervous pee before an audition. Essentially, you're scoping out the theatre before you go to that first audition. Also, you're seeing great theatre. Okay, seeing a show's helped you scope out the venue. Another great thing about shows is often casts will come out afterwards and have a drink with audience members. Usually they would just want to see their friends and things. But it's really nice to have audience members that you don't know come up to you and say, hey, that was a great performance, or I really enjoyed something about your performance. And then perhaps if they're that sort of person, they'll keep chatting with you and you can ask them about how they got into theatre or their experiences with this particular theatre that you are at. Getting to know people can be really comforting. So if you turn up on audition day and that person's there, well then you've got someone you already know and go, oh, remember I came and spoke to you after blah performance. Actors are really lovely, generally. And even people with a big ego, actually, especially people with a big ego, they love to talk about themselves and they love to talk about their experience. Use people. People generally want to talk to you, so just have a chat. Okay, you've been to some shows, you maybe talked to some people if you're feeling up to it. Now is finding an audition. Now I pretty much exclusively find my auditions on Facebook. A really good thing to do is to search groups. Like for me, living in Perth, I go Perth auditions and there are many groups, and to be honest, you need to join multiple to be finding all the auditions. There's places like Star Now and things like that, but most community theatres are exclusively advertising on these groups or on their Facebook pages. Next thing to go and do is to like all the Facebook pages of the theatre groups. And last thing, you don't have to do, but I find can be an advantage, is to join the mailing groups for any theatres that you're interested in joining. You may have to pay a small fee, but most will let you join their mailing list for free. We're up to the final step, auditioning. Now you may need to audition for multiple shows before you get cast. Your highest chance of success is auditioning for shows with big ensembles. Getting that first show can be the hardest step. You've just got to be open and ready for rejection. We live with this constantly in theatre. In my first year of auditioning, I think I had 10 auditions for every role that I actually got. But as I've progressed on, I do less auditions for more roles. Part of that is also because I know what roles that I am suited for, which really helps. But part of it is getting a reputation of being reliable. Are you still struggling to get cast? Now, there's a few things you can do. One is to upskill. Is there an area that you're struggling with? For example, I was really struggling to get cast in vocal roles. So I went and got voice lessons, and it's definitely helped me with my audition game. Perhaps it's your acting. Maybe you need to go and do some acting classes. Or maybe it's dance that is holding you back, especially in musicals. So go and do some adult dance classes. Another roadblock can be people casting only people they know or their friends. This happens way more than we'd like to admit. It can be really hard to get into certain theatres. But one way you can get in is by doing other roles. Volunteer for stage crew on a show. Volunteer to help with costuming or set painting or front of house. Just getting to know the people at the theatre can increase your chances massively. Okay, if you're school-aged or you've got a child that's school-aged, a lot of theatres around have youth groups, acting classes and things like that. They're run by volunteers and I have seen some amazing things come out of them. And while their training may not make your kid the next Hugh Jackman or Lucy Durack, they are going to teach them some really important life skills like teamwork and confidence. I have seen some incredible young people come out of these groups. So there's some tips to get your theatre journey started. I hope this has helped at least one person start their theatre adventure. Until next time, this is Music and Theatre Education. I'm Miss Ezzy, and I'll see you next time.